Hello, YouTube followers. This is John Demokis, a.k.a. Half Man, Half Cichlid. Today I'm going to talk about two of my favorite foods that are, at the top in terms of nutrition, foods that don't have any preservatives added to them, foods that are fun to feed your fish and that don't cloud the water, foods that are probably as close to live foods as possible. So we've got freeze-dried krill. I buy it, it's on the left, I buy it by the pound in this large plastic bag. I'll provide a link and to where I buy it on eBay. And the right size, and there are different people who sell these materials, these foods, but the one on the right is the one I'm using. Again, I buy it on eBay. I buy it in bulk. I'll provide a link. And the freeze-dried brine shrimp is my favorite food. Everybody eats it. The krill, it's a little big for some fish. So, if we look at the next slide, once I open up the bags, this is just how I store the food above my fish tank. I put the krill on the left and the brine shrimp cubes on the right into plastic containers that held my other favorite food, the extreme cichlid bits. Now, in terms of making this thing, people have asked the strainer, the clear plastic container you can see in the center. There's a cap that goes on the strainer. In the middle, on the upper top, there's two yellow, what they are is fishing jigs where I cut off the hook, and I use the coated lead heads to sink the container, because the freeze-dried foods do have a lot of air, and without the weights in the feeding strainer, it's not going to sink down to where your fish eat. So you've got the feeding strainer. I connect it with a piece of fishing line to a piece of junk plastic, the piece down in the lower left, and that just keeps the strainer from falling to the bottom of the aquarium. I use it to regulate the height. The other two things I use to set this up initially is a drill and a drill bit that's made, it's up in the upper left-hand corner. It's an Irwin drill bit for plastic that's used to drill the holes in the feeding strainer. So now I'm adding the weights to the container. I would next put the food in it, then I would put the top on, and it's ready to go into the aquarium once I put the food in it, which we'll cover in a second. And you can set the fishing line whatever length works for the height of your aquarium and where you want the food to sit with your fish. This is the drill bit with which you can drill multiple sizes of holes into the feeding strainer. I put some large holes in the strainer for the krill, which of course are larger, and then I have smaller holes for the brine shrimp. So you can see I alternate the sizes of the holes to accommodate both the krill and the freeze-dried brine shrimp. Now next we're going to load the strainer with freeze-dried brine shrimp. So again, we take the top off. I pull out my jug container of freeze-dried brine shrimp cubes. I grab a handful. I drop them down into the container. I pat it down a little bit because I haven't fed my fish in a day at least, so I want to give them a little bit extra. Put the top back on, again making sure it's real tight so the fish don't pull the strainer off of the top. And now the fun part. We're going to today feed my 340-gallon multi-species aquarium, Cichlids. I have several schools of rainbows, Irian rainbows, and Bosemani rainbows. I've got Denison barbs. I've got different types of other different types of cichlids, redhead tapajos, and we'll put the container in next. I'm going to initially drop it down a little deeper, then pull it up a little higher, and you can see immediately the fish know it's feeding time. And as the freeze-dried food becomes saturated with water, you can see the air bubbles that are being expelled from the food. It's a very clean type of food. Again, there's no sloppy juice that you have with freeze-dried krill, freeze-dried brine shrimp. So it's very clean. All the fish love to pick at it, to pull it through. Some of the fish, like the Neolamprolagus lalupi, the yellow cylindrical cichlids, they like to stand by and eat the pieces that the other fish pull out of the strainer. I've got 5 or 6 Siamese algae eaters in here. You can see the Denison barbs are coming in there for their share. And everybody loves eating this particular food and using this particular method. And it's a lot of fun to watch. So now I'm going to pull it up a little bit. It might be a little bit easier to see what's going on because we have it against a lighted background on the aquarium instead of in the middle of some plants and rocks. So again, everybody's coming in for their share. They'll get a mouthful, they'll leave, they'll come back, they'll spit some out. All the pieces get eaten by somebody. What else can I say about this? It's just fun to watch. You don't have to worry about the food ending up on the bottom of the aquarium. You don't have to worry about it floating and getting sucked into your in this case I've got a sump, and they're surface skimmers. And if you were to put the krill or the brine shrimp in the tank just floating around, it would get sucked into the sump via the surface skimmers. So this works real well to keep the food near the bottom in the feeding zones and away from any filter intakes until the fish grab it. It's not a fish I haven't found that that doesn't love the brine shrimp. The krill is a larger food, as you saw, and it isn't as good a fit for medium and large and extra large cichlids as the brine shrimp. But you can see here, even with 8-inch severums, they love to pull out a mouthful of the food and the brine shrimp and feast on it. You can see a few of the Neolamprologus, the yellow cylindrical fish. I've got 20 or 30 of them in this aquarium coming up for some of the food. So anyway, an excellent food, one of the best after live foods, easier to feed. It's freeze-dried. It's indestructible. You don't have to put it in a freezer. And the feeder keeps it out of the filters. And it's fun to watch. My grandkids, when they come over, they always ask me, "Hey, Poppy, can you feed the fish using the strainer?" And I'd say 30 minutes from now, it'll probably be pretty much empty, and you can pull the strainer out with the fishing line at your leisure. The fish will continue to poke at it now and then. You can see there's some of the smaller Neolamprologus lalupi near the bottom, swiping up the pieces of the brine shrimp. You can also see the Plecostomus. The Plecostomus will grab onto this thing and they'll suck the brine shrimp through the sides of the strainer. So, hope you enjoyed it. I hope you consider this and as a feeding option and way to feed these freeze-dried foods. And I'll provide links to various components. Thank you. Half man, half cichlid.